sports.
Welcome to The PlayBook, where we're talking sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. I'm your host, Mina SayWhat, and we're 100% digital, 100% live, and 100% real. Let's count them down. Hello, family. It is The PlayBook, our digital sports show. I'm your host, Mina SayWhat. Happy Pi Day, 314 day. We got to talk about Philly sports. There's a lot to get to. Let's bring in my brother, podcaster and sportscaster, Sean Bell.
What's up? What's up? How you feeling?
I'm all right. Happy Pi Day. Every day is a new happy something day, right?
It's just too much. Everybody got a day. Everything got a day.
Right. We need to make yesterday and today happy Tom Brady is not retired day anymore.
Go away. He won't go away. We all want him to go away, but he won't.
We'll get to that, okay? We got a lot to talk. First, let's talk Philly sports. Let's get into Philly plays. Our Sixers beat the Magic in overtime. Final score 116-114. I don't understand why this game was so close, especially since the Magic are ranked 15 in the East and we are second currently. So we've had a couple of games that we're seeing what's going on with James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, also Joel Embiid and the rest of the squad. What are some observations from what we're seeing from the Sixers right now at this point, Sean?
Well, for one, it's Orlando. They didn't care about Orlando. They didn't get up for Orlando. That's why that game was so close, because they absolutely didn't care. They're coming off playing Brooklyn, where they got smacked. Obviously, we'll talk about that in a second. And then they have Denver tonight, which is a big game for the MVP of the league. So it was a game stuck in between two big games that you call a trap game. Yeah, it's the basic trap game. Usually you use that for football, but it's that case for basketball. So that's why that game was so close. But I think I told you before, it's going to be hard for Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey to both be playing well and in a rhythm, right? Like James Harden is ball dominant. So you're seeing Tyrese Maxey finally start to struggle a little bit and Tobias Harris play well. It's because there's only one ball. All four guys aren't going to be able to get the rock and play well and score 20 a game. You're not going to be able to get 20 a game from Joel, James, Tyrese, and Tobias. That's just not going to happen. So one guy is going to be left out and one guy's not going to have a good game. So they have to figure out a situation where every player feels good and is in a rhythm and understands their new role of, okay, I'm not going to get 15, 16 shots. I'm going to get 8 shots. And I got to know when I'm going to get those shots, how I'm going to get those shots, and how I'm going to produce. And Tobias and Tyrese have to figure that out. And ultimately, it's about James Harden. Play better, dog.
I agree with you there. We are starting to see some of, we were all excited at first. We're going to the championship. We're going to win. Now we're starting to see some of the things that need to be worked on. I agree with you there. You are starting to see some of the other players that are just trying to get their shots and struggle. But it comes down to coaching, right? What's the right combination? Who do you put when on the court? I feel like that hasn't been figured out all the way. And that's why we're seeing some of these hiccups, and to be honest, I get what you're saying about this being, like kind of a throwaway game, but coming off this brutal loss to the Nets, I wanted us to really come out there and have like this definitive win against a very weaker team. I get what you're saying, but that's really why I was like, well, we should have won. It should have went into overtime, and we should have won by more. Is kind of like, if we have playoff aspirations, our B squad should be able to clean up the Magic. You know what I'm saying? So that's really where my concern was a little bit.
You get blown out, Brooklyn. You want to see them come out angry the next game. You come out wanting to take care of a business and get that nasty taste out of their mouth. But it's all about James Harden, dog. You got to play better. Like, if you don't play better, this team can't work. Forget coaching, right? Like, the coach can't do anything to make James Harden do his job and play well. And I know he's got a little hamstring injury, but I'm not going to let that be an excuse right now, right? Like, when he plays well, we don't say it's an excuse. James Harden has to play well. He has to hit shots. And if he plays well, then it's easier for the other guys. When he doesn't play well, then it's harder for the other guys. So James Harden needs to step his game up each and every night.
So based off what we saw against the Nets, because I felt like I was starting to at least feel like the Nets weren't so much as an Eastern Conference contender. Are we thinking now they're an Eastern Conference, playoff contender because of their performance against us?
I always did. Yes.
They was looking kind of crazy.
Yes, they're looking crazy when KD and Kyrie ain't both on the court.
Right.
Okay. When KD and Kyrie are both on the court, they are absolute atomic bombs. They can explode at any moment and give you 50 pieces. Just like KD just gave you a 50 piece. Kyrie Irving the other day gave you a 50 piece. They can do it at any point in time. And then all of a sudden, they look dangerous. Then all of a sudden, Seth Curry says, I want to get 24 also. Like Brooklyn can do that at any point. That's why if Ben Simmons comes back to play, he ain't got to do much. He got to play B and run the floor.
You are exactly in my head because that's kind of where I was going to go. How do you think this whole Ben Simmons thing played out?
Listen, again, I don't know. I do think Ben, it's not just a back. I do think he's going through something in his head. I don't know what it is, but I do think he's going through something in his head. But when he returns to play, no pressure. Dog, you saw what Brooklyn did to us. If KD and Kyrie are both on the court, Ben just has to be Ben. Play some defense, run the floor, rebound, and that's perfect for this Nets team. And they'll be able to clean up anybody in front of them.
Yeah. All right. So we have a couple of back-to-back games, one being tonight. We're playing the Nuggets and, the Jokers on the team. And this is an MVP candidacy kind of game to see who ousts who. So it's going to be exciting. But we have like a string of back-to-backs in the last 17 games of the season. And now I'm reading that the Sixers are going to be resting Joel and James at different points just to make sure they're playoff ready. Is that okay, considering we're still trying to find the rhythm, not within them two, because there's clearly a rhythm there, but how they fit in the larger scheme with the backup team and things like that?
I think they have no choice because James, again, has nagging hamstring issues. And quite frankly, he's gone into playoffs over the last couple of years hurt. So you want to make sure he's right, because it doesn't matter what you do in the regular season at this point. If you go into playoffs and he's not all the way, it's going to be a problem. Same thing with Joel. Like, the last few playoffs, he's come in with a hurt knee and in different situations. Like, so yes, even though you're still fighting for the number 2 seed or even potentially the 1 seed, it doesn't matter if Joel and James isn't all the way healthy going into the playoffs. And both of those guys have such an injury history that you have to sort of do this in order to make sure they're good for the playoff go.
I get it. I'm just nervous about it. I don't think we fully fleshed out all the lineups yet, and it's very clear, and that's what makes me nervous about it. I need to see more of a consistent rhythm, not just with our first squad, but more importantly, the second squad, right? Because the second squad is what's going to really be pivotal in the moments where we're playing these really aggressive, pressure teams, where we can't let the second squad come and then we're down 10 or 15 against the Bucks. We're just not going to win that way. We need our second team to start developing. It makes me nervous. Let's talk about Jason Kelsey, because he has announced that he is returning to the Eagles. We're very happy about that. The Eagles and Kelsey agreed to a 1-year deal worth $14 million in 2022 that now makes Jason Kelsey the highest paid center in the NFL. He's obviously an asset to our team. He's obviously a Pro Bowler. We love what he's done. But the reality is the man is 33 years old, and we know the lifespan of football. Do you think the Eagles should have picked up a younger guy and kind of used the cachet that they have with Jason Kelsey, or do you think this was the right move?
Yeah, it was the right move. I mean, he's the best center in the league, right? Anytime somebody's the best thing at what they do in the league, you bring him back, even if it's just for 1 year. He's an all-pro, best center, future Hall of Famer in my prediction and most people's prediction. So I agree. And he's the leader of the squad. You know what I mean? So they need that. And plus, there's no one waiting in the wings to be a center in his position. So it's not like you want a young guy to get in and get those reps and develop. And so I think you bring Jason Kelsey back, but I do think they should draft a center in the 4th round, the 3rd round, the 5th round. That's usually where the best centers go, and have them wait behind Kelsey and learn behind Kelsey. So when Kelsey decides to retire the end of this year or even the year after that, they have a center ready to go. So that's what I think is the best thing for them to do.
Okay, Coach Bell, I like the plan.
Man, just had to throw that out there.
All right, let's get into Shoot Your Shot. This is where we talk about the players' love lives. Patrick Mahomes, congratulations to him. Mahomie got married to his longtime girlfriend, Brittany Matthews. We know a lot about this girl. She's been in the news for various things. Most recently, she sprayed champagne from her club box down into the people under without any remorse for how they might feel about champagne being thrown on them. But they got married in Hawaii this weekend. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Congrats. I'm not gonna rain on their parade with any of the past things that I didn't like. So I'm just gonna say congrats to Patrick Mahomes. I hope they're happy.
Right. Well, now that she's a wife, I hope she gets herself together and starts conducting herself. And she's not out here spraying random people with champagne from your club box.
I'm trying to leave it alone.
That oozes. So, all right, moving on. Tom Brady was trending this weekend again. He's unretired. He said over the weekend he's returning to play for Tampa Bay. This is his 23rd season in the NFL. He's a 7-time Super Bowl champion. Obviously, he has some unfinished business based off how his season ended a couple of months ago. And this is what he said. These past 2 months, I have realized my place is still on the field and not in the stands. That time will come, but it's not now. I love my teammates and I love my supportive family. Without them, none of this is possible. I'm coming back for my 23rd season in Tampa. We have unfinished business. What do you think is going on in the Brady household that Tom was like, I am sick of this. I need to be back on the field. I can't be retired.
He hung out with his wife and kids for 2 months and said, I had enough. I'm going back to football. I'm going back to get this. I'm sick of this family already. I think he planned this all along.
Oh,
Tom, and this helps his brand. This creates more excitement for Tom Brady. This creates more hoopla for Tom Brady, more for people to talk about him. So I think he planned this all along. I think he might have wanted to go, the rumor was, to San Francisco and say, hey, maybe if I retire from Tampa Bay, despite being under a contract, I can sort of go there where I wanted to be all along and play a season. And because the 49ers are so good, I can win a Super Bowl with them immediately because all they need is a good quarterback. So I think maybe that was the possibility for him. And once Tampa Bay was like, there's no way we're going to allow you to play for anybody else. We don't care if you retired. We still have your contract rights. He said, all right, fine. I gave it a good go. I gave it a try. I'm coming back to Tampa Bay.
You know, when he retired, I didn't believe it. First of all, the whole he's retiring. And then it's like, no, he's not. And then, yes, he is. You know, I didn't believe it because I do feel like as a champion, I just don't feel like he ended his season the way that one of the best football quarterbacks we've ever seen would allow his season to be ended, right? I see Tom Brady going out with another Super Bowl chip at the top. I don't see him going out just almost making it. That doesn't, to me, that's not really, I don't know the man, but just based off what I've seen, to me, that's just not really his character. So when he retired, I'm like, okay, I don't know. I mean, congratulations, sir, but I don't know. And then when he came back, that wasn't surprising to me either.
Yeah, but nobody goes out on top. John Elway went out on top.
But don't they try, Sean? They try.
Yeah, but like Tom could at least say, my last throw in the NFL was a touchdown.
Okay.
Right? Like he can go out like Brett Favre throwing a pick six. He can go out like the great Joe Montana who went to the playoffs, but a bad loss in the second round and he was out. Like it can get a lot worse. Like he went out on a pretty good note playing at a high level of football. So sure, you want to go out on top, right, but that only happens 1% of the time.
This is like when Jordan came back and he played for what, the Wizards?
Exactly.
After playing baseball?
Exactly. If you don't know when to call it quits, the league will quit you.
It's like, what Jordan do you remember? Do you remember the Bulls Jordan or the Wizards Jordan?
Nobody
because I remember the Wizards Jordan. That's the Jordan I remember.
That's because you young. You youngins remember stuff like that. I don't remember the Wizards Jordan.
All right, MLB lockdown is done. Yay! The lockdown is over. Major League Baseball and the MLB Players Association have reached a tentative agreement in this new labor deal. Opening day is April 7th. Our Phillies are gonna return against Oakland, the Athletics, on the 8th. This took kind of long, but are we excited? Because our Philly season hasn't been the best.
I mean, listen, in baseball in general, I'm like, whatever. Right? Like, I love the game of baseball, but baseball has done a million things to shoot themselves in the foot consistently. And as far as the Phillies, what have they done? Like, as we're speaking right now, who have they signed?
Yeah.
They signed Familia from the Mets, a guy who was great in 2016 and 2017, but ain't great no more. They signed a couple of guys who are going to come in relief, not even closers, come in relief and maybe give you a good inning or two if they still have it. They haven't even done anything in free agency yet. So expect the Phillies to be down, put it that way.
Thanks.
I'm just saying. The Mets are out here making moves while the Phillies are doing nothing.
Thanks. In positive news, the NCAA tournament, March Madness is here. Of course, Villanova has, well, before we get to Villanova, first let's look at the overall bracket. I don't know. There's something about this bracket that always makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Like, I just love the upsets and the excitement surrounding March Madness. I know this is hard to see, but I love filling it out and, you know, having these debates. But you see the national championship, New Orleans, April 4th. Okay. Let's look at some local games that we want to keep our eye on. So I mentioned Villanova. Of course, they're always top and center, ranked number 2. Unfortunately, Delaware also made the tournament, but they have to go up against Villanova. So this is a hard game because it's like, okay, if you're from Philly, Jersey, or Delaware, you want both of these teams to succeed, but that game is happening Friday at 2:45. I also want to keep an eye out on some other local, you know, schools in Jersey. Rutgers is playing in that first 4 to try to get into the tournament. We have St. Peter's out of Jersey City, New Jersey, who I don't think have ever made the tournament. I mean, I lived up there and it was like, oh, St. Peter's, you know, they never go past and make it to the tournament. And then obviously Seton Hall, who is consistently up there, ranked at number 8. Now, no Syracuse, Sean. We will not see the Boeheim brothers in the NCAA tournament. Overall, how are you feeling about the NCAA tournament?
Hey, listen, I told you beginning of the year, 5 games in, that Syracuse sucks this year.
Thanks.
So, you know what I mean? Hey, I'm Syracuse too, but they suck this year. Not very good. Yeah. You said you feel fuzzy when you see brackets.
I do.
I feel annoyed.
Feel good inside.
I feel annoyed because I think about the years and years of me losing based on a team like Duke losing in the first round or Kansas losing in the first round when they shouldn't, and I lose out on money because guys don't want to ball up. So it's a year that's wide open. There's no dominant team this year.
Coach K retired. Is he going to be coaching?
Yeah, of course. He didn't retire yet. This is final season.
Okay.
So he's going to be in the NCAA tournament. And they've been disappointing him throughout. They lost the final game at Cameron Indoor Stadium. They lost in the ACC tournament. And now they're back in, and they're probably going to lose in the second round because there's no dominant teams in this. For some reason, I like Baylor. Think they're a really good team. Gonzaga's always pretty good, but there's nobody that you can look at. If I'm going to pick maybe an upset team, maybe Memphis. Memphis, a team who struggled a lot, Penny Hardaway's team, but they won 10 out of their last 12. So you want to look for hot teams like that. Maybe Memphis can make a Sweet 16, Elite 8 run because they've been red hot in the final month of the season. But other than that, this thing is wide open, and Villanova has a shot. Yeah.
Can we look at the bracket again? Shout out to Amir, our producer, so we can look at it once more. I mean, I need my eyes ain't that good anymore, but I just want to keep it up here a little bit more. So I'm just excited. I'm ready for the upsets. And you know, I don't care if my bracket is terrible every year.
Did you fill out a bracket yet?
I didn't fill out. I will. We have to, because the first 4 games starts tomorrow, the first one, and then officially we go into full, you know, NCAA tournament Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, I think Kansas has a pretty good road. I like Purdue.
Purdue's always very good.
I like Purdue to sort of make a run into the Elite 8. I haven't filled out my bracket yet, but I think they can make a run and then potentially meet Baylor in the East.
Well,
Kentucky's pretty good too.
Right. Fill out your brackets and we'll see whose bracket is the worst.
Yeah, who's bracket is worse? But it's
not even about winning anymore. It's about whose bracket is the worst.
After first glance, though, I think Memphis will be a sweetheart team, and I think Purdue, a number 3 seed, could potentially make the Final Four. So.
Okay, Coach Bell. Let's get into plays this week from our Sixers. As we mentioned, the Phillies should be playing soon, but right now everything's about basketball. So big game tonight, the Joker versus Joel Embiid. Who will win this MVP race this year? Then we go away to play the Cavs, Mavericks, Raptors. What are we feeling from these next 4 games?
First of all, that Nugget game is the MVP game, right? Like that will sway the voters.
Right.
It shouldn't, but that will sway the voters. Joel Embiid has to show up. He has to be great. James Harden has to be great for him. And the guy who gets the win out of that matchup, or at least plays the better out of that matchup, is going to be probably ahead in the MVP race in the eyes of the voters. So Joel has to come up and play, show up and play. He always does. But James, you got to help that man out and get him a win and feed him every time down the court if you want to win MVP.
I'm worried they might rest him. They haven't said anything, but there is this article about, they're going to start resting one of them in these back-to-back games. I hope they don't do it tonight.
He won't allow it. He knows this is an MVP game.
Joel will be like, Doc, you are not doing this today.
Not against Joker. He knows this is an MVP game. Okay. The whole team knows this is an MVP game.
Right.
The MVPs have to play this game and win, because the last time these two teams played, Joel was out with COVID and didn't play, while Joker gave them 30, 10, and 7.
Right.
So he has to play. So yes, that's an MVP game. And the rest of these games are cool, but they should beat the Cavs. They should beat the Raptors. They will, matter of fact. The Luka versus James will be the exciting show. Don't be surprised if Luka gives it to Harden.
Mm-hmm. All right, Coach Bell, thank you for your time and wisdom. All you need is the little whistle. I watched Coach Carter over the weekend because it's on Netflix now again, and you're very much giving me Coach Carter vibes.
I've never seen it.
What?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I've never seen Coach Carter. I've never been interested in it.
Are you serious?
Not one scene. Nope.
That's unfortunate. That's sad.
Nope. If I'm going to watch an old school basketball movie, it's going to be Sunset Park. Sorry.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. So your homework is to fill out your brackets and to watch Coach Carter. Okay.
All right.
Sean Bell, how can they find you?
Sean Bell Live, Twitter, Instagram.
All right. You can find me, Mina SayWhat, here every Monday, 1:45. We go live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch here on the PlayBook. Thanks for watching The Playbook. I'm your host, Mina SayWhat, and you got something you want to talk about next week? You can always hit me up on social media at Mina SayWhat, and make sure you join us 1:45 next Monday on R&B Philly's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. We'll see you then.